All right, you guys are familiar with the Vargo 52. It has been added to Cold War in 2022. So you know what that means, right? We got to update our top 5 class setups for Cold War. And this video is going to be especially helpful for you guys who are still playing Cold War in 2022 and beyond. So if you guys do enjoy the content, a like is definitely appreciated. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this year. Now that Treyarch has confirmed more content is coming, and we are going to be updating these stats frequently as they come. So if you guys are enjoying the content, you guys are enjoying Cold War, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're brand new to stay tuned for more Call of Duty content. Join Turbo Nation today, make it official, and let's get on with the video.
It's turbo time.
All right, so before we go over the actual best class setups, I just want to briefly talk about this time to kill chart that I composed here, just so you guys can get a visual and an understanding of where I'm coming from when I'm giving you guys these class setups and why. So here we got the KSP-45, the Tech-9, the PPSH, AK-47, Vargo, and the FFAR-1. Now I know this is a top 5 guns weapon video. However, I felt like the PPSH needed to be an honorable mention here. So the thing with the PPSH, let's start off with that one since we're talking about it already, is that they recently, okay, when I say recently, I mean in Season 6. So the last like big weapon tuning update, they buffed the PPSH and they specifically buffed the Task Force barrel. So buffing the Task Force barrel dramatically reduces that TTK and it brings it down to 264 milliseconds. So when you're comparing it to the likes of the Tech-9, obviously we all know the Tech-9 as literally the most unstoppable SMG in the game for various reasons. But the simple fact that the PPSH has a pretty much identical time to kill, 264 versus 266. That goes to show that there is some variety as far as close range engagements that you can use that will absolutely melt your opponents. So that's why I felt the need to include the PPSH here. It is definitely well worth the use, and it's going to be dominant in close to medium range. So this TTK goes up to this 23 meter range, which is very sufficient enough for the kind of maps that we have in Cold War. Now, another thing that I do want to add on to the PPSH, why I'm adding it here, is because it comes with a huge extended barrel attachment that you can add to it. Forget the actual number off the top of my head, but I think it's around like 70 rounds or something like that. That's absolutely insane for an SMG. So even though it's not as accurate as the Tech-9, you have that crazy advantage of all that ammo that you don't even need to worry about reloading your gun. You can go on crazy killing sprees and take advantage of this insanely fast TTK. All right, so moving on here to the KSP-45. So KSP-45 is literally the king. It's got the fastest TTK in the SMG category, and I think about it now, it probably is the fastest killing gun in the game overall. Now, the reason why I'm including this here is because number one, obviously stat wise, it's got the fastest TTK, and number two, this TTK is going to absolutely shred your opponents. You're going to be winning a lot of gunfights, and the only downside to it is the fact that it's a burst weapon. You know, most beginners or, you know, the novice Call of Duty player isn't going to find that the most convenient because you have to be extremely accurate with your shot. So it's very unforgiving, needless to say, if you miss your shots. But if you are able to land all of your shots, you're going to be melting the heck out of your opponents, and the death comms are going to be pretty insane. So it's quite frustrating going against seasoned Call of Duty players who are using the KSP-45. Now, moving on here to the Tech-9. I mean, what else is there to say here with the Tech-9? It's got a TTK of 266 out to 30 meters. So obviously, SMG range, this is pretty amazing for this TTK. So that's why it absolutely must be included in this top 5 list. So not really much to go over on the Tech-9 there, pretty self-explanatory. So let's move on to the FFAR-1. So the FFAR-1, I decided to include this in this top 5, mainly because of its TTK at close range. So let's say you want to use an assault rifle, but you just know that you can't compete with most of the assault rifles in the game. I mean, for crying out loud, the fastest killing assault rifle we have here is the Vargo at 300 millisecond time to kill, and then the AK-47, which has the exact same TTK up to this 38 meter range of 300. So the fastest TTK on paper is going to be the FFAR1, and this is going to extend out to 12 meters. Now, I know this isn't a big deal, right? 12 meters, whatever, but in close quarter combat situations, say you're playing like Nuketown or something, or close quarter type of maps, the FFAR1 is gonna be able to dominate against the likes of other SMGs like the Tech-9 as well as the PPSH. Also, the fact that the recoil has been adjusted for the FFAR1, it just makes it a lot easier to beam people at longer ranges. The only weakness it does have are obviously its very low magazine capacity. Even with the extended mags, you're going to be running out of ammo pretty quickly because of how fast you're going to go through them. And also the TTK does drop significantly to 330 milliseconds. So I still felt the need to add this here. We are all fans of the FFAR1, and I think you guys can agree on that. All right, so finally, let's talk about the Vargo as well as the AK-47. So there are obviously some similarities here. We got 300 millisecond time to kill for both of these weapons up to this 38 meter range. That seems to be the standard for both of these weapons. However, there is a pretty significant difference here in both, and that is going to be at longer ranges. So the Vargo has a 375 millisecond time to kill versus the AK-47 at 400 milliseconds. So clearly there is an advantage to the Vargo at longer ranges, and if you're going to be using the class setups that I'm about to show you, this can definitely beam people at long ranges. So yeah, this is definitely in a nutshell why I am choosing to show you guys these 5 weapons here. Definitely well worth using if you're looking for an arsenal for all kinds of situations. Obviously, you have guns that are going to be excelling in closer ranges, mid ranges, as well as your longer ranges. So let's go ahead and move on to the class setup portion of the video. All right, you guys, welcome back to the video. If you guys made it this far into the video and you guys just watched that whole breakdown of the TTK comparison chart, I want you to do me a favor, leave a like right now just to prove that you've been watching throughout the whole entire video, and comment down below TTK in the comments so I know that who the real ones are watching the entire video all the way through. But anyways, without further ado, let's just get into it. So for the first class setup, this is no particular order, by the way, but I do have it ordered out in SMGs first. Let's go ahead and talk about the KSP-45. So with the KSP-45, we're using the agency suppressor. So this is going to help out with muzzle flash concealment, staying as stealthy as possible, as well as that vertical recoil control. Obviously, both are going to be a huge factor. Like I was saying in the TTK chart comparison, the weakness of the KSP is going to be being able to land all of your shots, and that goes for if you're not accurate. Of course, the average person is going to be continuously trying to burst fire this weapon. So when you're continuously burst firing the weapon, obviously you need some sort of recoil control. So that's why we're going ahead and adding the agency suppressor here. Now for barrel, we're using the task force barrel. This is to help us with bullet velocity as well as extending our damage range. Obviously, this is going to be key and important in helping create the KSP-45 to be as flexible as possible as far as ranges go. So that's why you saw in the TTK chart, it has a pretty wide range as far as you know, what kind of maps you're playing on. Small or medium maps, KSP-45 is still going to be able to take advantage of that really fast time to kill. Now for the underbarrel, we're going to be using the patrol grip. So kind of piggybacking off my reasons for using the muzzle here, it's a burst weapon on the other hand of things. You know, you don't necessarily need too much recoil control, and you're going to be finding it to be fairly accurate when you're using it. So I figured, you know what, we need to go ahead and increase or decrease our sprinting move speed as well as our sprint to fire time. So these are obviously equally important if you're in close quarter combat situations. Getting that first shot first versus your opponent is going to be very essential to winning a gunfight, and it will help you eliminate them a lot faster. Even if you miss your shots, you're still going to be able to get your shot off a little bit faster. You know, we want to maximize that as much as possible. You know, in the event that you do miss your shots, you're still going to be able to get a few more off. Anyways, airborne elastic wrap so we can increase our speed and handling when we're in close quarter combat situation. Like I said, the downside to this gun is just not being able to fire fast enough. So increasing speed just makes sense in this situation. So for the stock, we're using no stock, again going along with the theme of increasing or decreasing, I should say, our sprint to fire time. All right, next up we have the infamous Tech-9. You can't really go wrong with the Tech-9. You can outfit it anyway, it's still going to be melting your opponents, but there is a specific setup that I like to use. So for the muzzle, we are using the full auto repeater. Barrel is going to be the Task Force barrel. Under barrel, we got the field agent grip. Magazine, we're going to be going with the 33 round fast mag, or you can go ahead and use the 39 round Stanag. You know, in hindsight, this isn't a lot of ammo to work with. So obviously, depending on if you're accurate enough, your play style or whatever, if you're aggressive, use this one. But if you're not that accurate of a player, then go ahead and use the 39 round. Handle is going to be the airborne elastic wrap. All right, moving on to the AK-47. So the AK-47, we got the suppressor on here to stay as stealthy as possible. Barrel, this is going to be the most important attachment on the AK-47, and a similar theme is going to follow with the Vargo 52. Now, the reason why the VDV reinforced is super important here is because it's going to extend your range out to 71 meters. Remember, like I was showing you in that TTK chart, its default range is only 38, but if we add this, it extends it out to 71, which is obviously going to be advantageous in being a much more flexible weapon for all sorts of environments. So we're going to have that 300 millisecond time to kill out to 70 meters. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And we also got a nice boost to our bullet velocity, which is equally important for faster hit detection, especially on moving targets. Underbarrel, we're going to be going with the foregrip. So I like this attachment on the AK-47 because we're able to control that horizontal recoil that the AK-47 has, and there are no cons to it. So that's definitely something to love. Magazine, I would say this part is optional. It kind of depends on, you know, what you're looking for. If you want to mitigate the ADS as much as possible, then use the 40 round. You know, or you can use the Bakelite if you want to, but you know, the ADS is going to be -15. Whereas if you use something like the VDV 50 round fast mag, this is going to be -25. So it's really just all your personal preference when it comes to the magazine. But me personally, I like to keep my stats as optimized as possible, and I could just sacrifice my ADS speed by using the 40 round. Handle is going to be the GRU elastic wrap here. All right, next up we got the Vargo 52. This is arguably the most enjoyable and top tier assault rifle in the game as of right now. If you guys aren't familiar with this gun and you want to see a full stat breakdown, you know, similar to what I did in the TTK chart comparison, and more, including recoil plot patterns, attachment combos, you know, etc., all the stats for the Vargo 52. If you want to get to know it, make sure to check out that video I posted on my channel. Is the very first video, basically purely stat-wise driven type of video. But anyways, we're going to be using the KGB eliminator for the muzzle. Barrel is going to be the VDV reinforced. This is following the same exact theme to the AK-47. In fact, I would probably compare the Vargo 52 to the AK-47 because they have similar stats in TTK as far as ranges, except for we get a better TTK at longer ranges with the Vargo 52. So that's definitely something to think about, and that's why we're using the VDV reinforced. We don't just want to be limited to 38 meters for that 300 millisecond time to kill. We want to be able to extend it out as far as we possibly can. Just a quick disclaimer. This isn't anything bad. This is just kind of an announcement for what's to happen in the future. I actually did make a couple alternate class setups, a stealth class setup, 8 attachment class setup for the Vargo 52. So be sure to subscribe, stay tuned for that, and I think it's going to be worth watching because that just goes to show how versatile this weapon is. So underbarrel, we're going to be using the 𝗧𝗧𝗏 grip, and then magazine, we're going with the 40 round, same exact theme as the AK-47 and why I am using it. But again, do as you please, use whatever magazine you want. Stock, we're gonna go with the KGB skeletal stock. You know, this could really go either way. As far as either way, I meant, you know, putting a handle on instead of the stock. But the one thing that I found to be the weakness of this gun is its sprint out time. So that sprint of fire time is going to be very, very important for winning gunfights. Obviously, if you're running and gunning, that's why I decided to use the KGB skeletal stock as seen in the previous video that I posted. You guys saw how it performed. By the way, guys, just do a quick search on my channel. If they were posted recently, Cold War Year 2, you can see these class setups in action for yourself. All right, moving on to the PPSH, which is our bonus weapon here. So also going to be coming out with a PPSH gameplay video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Muzzle is going to be the GRU suppressor. Barrel, the most important barrel here is the Task Force barrel. This is what they updated last for the PPSH, which is going to help out our TTK as far as our range as well. So this is going to make it a lot more enjoyable to use, more satisfying when you're shredding your opponents. underbarrel is going to be the Spetsnaz Grip Magazine's the 71 round. This is just absolutely colossal. Needless to say, that gameplay that's going to come out in the future, definitely watch it and just how beneficial it is, especially if you're an aggressive player. Handle is going to be the Groot Elastic Wrap. All right, and last but not least, we have our FFAR1. All right, so for the muzzle, we're going with the SOCOM Eliminator. We gotta be able to control that recoil as much as we humanly possibly can. Barrel is going to be the Ranger barrel. This will give us 100% bullet velocity. Bullet velocity is super duper important in Cold War, so obviously your hit detection is going to be a lot faster, especially on moving targets, which is usually the case in real life situations. Bullet drop is an actual thing in Cold War and something that you need to be aware of. So this is going to increase that up to 1258 meters per second, which is crucial. Now, the reason why we're not using Task Force or the Reinforced Heavy here is mainly because this is more of an optimized build for close to medium range. You could still use it at longer ranges, but it's best at closer ranges, and here's why. If you use the Task Force barrel, it's going to dramatically reduce your recoil control. And even without the Task Force barrel, it's already hard enough to control that recoil because that fire rate is insanely high. Gun is going to be swaying all over the place. So it's best to just use the Ranger barrel, still yielding really great results with this attachment. Now for the underbarrel, moving along with theme of controlling that recoil, we're going to be going with the Field Agent Grip. And then for the magazine, we're going with the 38 round speed mag, or you can use whatever you want to. You got the STANAG 44 round or the 44 round fast mag. Just be aware of the negatives that do come with these attachments here. That's why I like the 38 round speed mag. You know, you reload your gun fast and you're supposed to be using it very aggressive up close and personal anyway. So, you know, what's the quick math here? Six more bullets, you know, that you're missing out on. You know, what's that when you can just reload that a lot faster than using the standard 44 round. Last but not least, we got the Raider stock here for sprint to fire time, as well as aim walking movement speed. So guys, if you guys made it this far into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys leave a like on it. It shows me I'm doing something right. This is the kind of content you want to see. You want to continue to see Cold War, drop a thumbs up right now and leave a comment down below. Make sure to comment down below more Cold War. That way I know you made it this far into the video and it tells me this is the kind of content you want to continue to see. So yeah guys, make sure to stay tuned for more Cold War content in year 2. We got way more content on the way, as confirmed by Treyarch. Absolutely loving this. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.